All right. Welcome, everyone. We are so glad to be here with you. So glad that you could somehow find time in your schedules. I realize that all kinds of things are going on right now. Report cards and just trying to have enough staff to be working with kids. And we're just so glad that you found a way to be here. And we also recognize that some folks will watch the recording because they couldn't make the info session today. The only folks who will be recorded in the info session are Linda and myself in terms of our images. But if you do want to ask a question, that will be recorded so other people can hear the answer. We invite you. Linda, why don't we do land acknowledgement next, and then I'll talk about the chat box.
Okay.
Oh, this is the welcome slide. Here it is. Welcome to the information meeting. This is our final information meeting for this next intake for the Masters in Curriculum Studies with a focus on practitioner inquiry and place-conscious pedagogies. And we call these cohorts KTY because the face-to-face component happens in the Kootenays. Linda, do you want to go first? Or yeah?
Sure. So we would like to acknowledge that we are at UBC campus. We're gathered today at the traditional ancestor and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. And thank you very much for joining.
Great. And I join you from Silks territory, which is the Okanagan. And I'm really fortunate not just to live and work here, but I research with the Silks people, specifically the Penticton Indian Band, and have been so fortunate. As I was saying, Eric and I are part of a project together where on Friday we were on the land learning from Knowledge Keeper Anona Campi, and I'm grateful for the constant opportunity to not just decolonize my practice, but to build a relationship with the land and the nations that I work with. We invite you right now to say hello in the chat box. And if you know the Indigenous territory you're joining from us, you can mention that as a decolonizing practice. We call it the chat box welcome.
Should I go to the next one or?
We'll just give folks just a chance to say
Sure.
to say hi in the chat box.
Of course.
Maybe also while we're doing that, you could also mention what your role is right now. If you're teaching, and what grades you're teaching. It's a quiet chat box today. Thanks, Maya. Ericon. Stephanie, Yellowknife. Hi, Monica, welcome. Great. My name is Leyton Schnellert, and I am the cohort advisor or cohort coordinator. I'm the faculty member who's attached to this cohort. And this is the 4th cohort that we've had. So I've had the great opportunity to work with Linda with 3 previous cohorts.
Okay. So should I introduce myself as well? Or okay.
Great, Linda, yes.
So, well, welcome again. So I am Linda Haftner, and I am the Senior Program Assistant, and I work for a unit called Professional Development and Community Engagement. And I will be talking to you a little bit in a little while after Leyton completes, about this. When do you apply? Where do you apply? What documents you need? And so on. Okay.
Thanks, Linda. Linda and I love working together.
Oh, for sure.
You're like a comedy show together. So here's our flow. We're talking a little bit. We just did introductions. Thank you for saying hi in the chat box. I'm going to talk a little bit about the program overall, and then Linda will talk about the very practical things in terms of like qualifications and processes and timelines. So I belong to the Department of Curriculum and Pedagogy at UBC, and so my department sponsors this program. And we just want to acknowledge right from the beginning that no matter what your role is in education, there is a place for you. And so this program was designed for folks in all kinds of roles. Our department, and thus this program, focuses on all kinds of things, including what we call curriculum theory, like where does curriculum come from and what are the different ways we can see it, how we design and evaluate our teaching, teacher education, which is this idea of like learning over time, and professional learning, both for teacher candidates, but also for professionals like ourselves. But we also have media and learning technologies, also teaching and learning. All of our cohorts have had one or two folks from post-secondary who are in this program. And also we span both formal and informal settings. So we often have educators from environmental organizations and museum organizations who join us in this program too. So I think we could say we are the most inclusive master's program out there, because it really is an opportunity for you to look at your own practice and think about where you're going in your teaching and leadership. So as I mentioned at the beginning, our focus is on practitioner inquiry and place conscious pedagogies. If you are from British Columbia, the Northwest Territories now to be, or the Yukon, our curriculum really has been redesigned to have a place conscious focus, to understand land as teacher, and that learning happens in the context and the communities that we work with. And so we take up a diversity of perspectives, pedagogies, and perspectives on conceptions of curriculum, and which is really exciting. It's a real chance to understand how we can think differently about curriculum, but also where our beliefs fit and where we fit in terms of research and approaches. There's a real attention to place conscious learning, which is learning in relationship to our community, rurality, right, rural remote education, curriculum as it's designed, created, and enacted, as well as collaborating, not just within the school, but also with the community. And so then as practitioners, you have this opportunity to explore a broad range of topics, ideas, aspects of your practice. And many folks have used this program to really transform the work they do, whether they're leaders, classroom folks, or community-based folks. It's a real chance to transform what you do based on what you believe. And I think I've probably said this 3 times, haven't I, Linda? It's for everybody. Come on down, K-12 educators, post-secondary educators, folks in kind of leadership or ministry positions, as well as community educators. We've had them all in the previous 3 cohorts. I'm going to talk briefly. I'm never talking briefly, am I, Cole? I'm going to talk a bit just about the flow of the program. This is the sequence of courses in the program. We've changed it around each time based on the feedback from the previous cohort. So I teach the first course, Practitioner Inquiry and Place Conscious Pedagogies. It's a super exciting course that happens over about a week and a half, full days. And we're really exploring what we mean by pedagogy and learning. There will be some learning on the land with knowledge keepers and elders. Then the second course is taught by Lisa Lautenheiser, and that's also 7 to 8 full days. And it's looking at, basically we call it theory boot camp. What are all the different ways that we understand theory to be, and where do those come from? So you get to kind of know your thinkers, if you will, and what that means in terms of the way that we teach and learn. And then in September, it's everybody's favorite course, Exploring Indigenous Historical and Cultural Sites for Learning. And so that will be taught by Joaquin Munoz. And Joaquin will also probably, if you could have you in person, he'd be cooking for you. But that course will be online. It's a chance to understand and explore Indigenous ways of knowing, theoretical positions related to this, and helping ourselves, no matter what our role is and wherever our place is in our current teaching, to decolonize our practice and build relationships in our context. Then in January 2023, that course is taught by Donna Kozak, Theorizing Pedagogy, and that helps you create what we call a theoretical framework. Where do you sit? What are you about? What does that mean? And how does that connect to your teaching and your practice and your leadership in terms of the work that you do? And that helps you to begin to plan what will be your research project. Then in May 2023, we have research methodology and education. And that will help you actually design your inquiry project. And then in summer, July 2023, we'll have review of research in curriculum and pedagogy taught by Dr. Harper Keenan. What a gift Harper is. We're so excited that he will be teaching in this program. And that will be an in-person course, July 11th to 22nd in Nelson. I should have mentioned that course 1 and 2 are also held in Nelson. That will happen over a 3-week span for the first 3 weeks of August in Nelson. Beautiful community if you haven't been there. Wonderfully community-based, alternative, and the best eating, I think, in the Kootenays, though some people might want to debate with me on that. And then by the end of the summer of July 2023, you will have your inquiry project created. So you'll be consulting with me as your program advisor around what are you doing, what are you thinking, where are you landing. And then as we move into the fall, we have a beautiful course. I got to teach it this time called Curriculum Change, Planning and Implementation. So that really thinks about how you're designing learning, what that looks like, what that means, what you're transforming, and how to take that up. And then in January 2024, you will be enacting, you will be, what's the right word? Enacting. You'll be doing your research, everybody, during January 2024 in your context, whatever that means, whatever you design as your inquiry project. And while you're doing that, we have a beautiful course called Living Inquiry in Learning Communities, which is many people's favorite course in the program. That will bring us to education, action, research when you're back with me, and we'll be actually looking at your data. What have you learned? What have you collected? What does that mean? What did you take away? And then in July 2024, we see you for the final week of July, final full week of July. And it's almost like a conference where you're presenting your learning, where you're sharing the research that you've done and learning from each other in the program. And that will also happen in Nelson. Whew. The last thing I should note while we're on that slide is that the online courses are primarily Saturdays, so roughly every second Saturday during a term. And the September term goes September to the first week of December. Then the January term goes from the first week of January to, I think, the second week of April. Then that May term sometimes cheats a tiny bit. Sometimes it's like the last day of April. But that May 2023 course will likely happen once a week in the evenings, just because you're designing your projects, and it really helps to meet weekly. And so, like, for instance, we'll meet every Thursday evening after school. But this program is designed for practicing educators, and so all course time and work happens outside of your teaching day. Thanks, Linda. There are, if you wanted to switch out a course, of course, that is possible, and here are the recommended choices. But the nice thing is it's a cohort program, so we've designed it to really support you. But those are just examples of things that you might take. But if you, Linda will talk about transferring courses or having other options a little bit later on. That was my piece, Linda. Maybe we should just pause for a second and see if there's any questions.
Sure.
Folks, you can ask your question by turning on your mic, or you can put it in the chat box. Either way, I will happily respond.
So those electives you just mentioned that you can take, you don't have to take them. You can take the program just as you saw it in the first slide, and then you meet all the requirements that way. Yeah,
thanks, Erica. Most people just take the flow, right? You stay in the cohort, you get what you need, and because it's already got this inquiry piece, you're always saying, what do I want to do anyway? But there is that possibility to trade something out. There are 2 electives in the flow of the program, Erica. So 512, which is the 9th course, is considered an elective. You can trade that, but it's with me. How could you possibly give me up? And it's also me helping you finalize and write up your project. And then summer, where is it? July 2023, the review of research in curriculum and pedagogy. Sometimes that's the course that most people have traded out because you maybe want to go to campus in Vancouver, or you find something else that you want. But that course will really support you in designing your project and digging deep into your passion area. But you would work with me if you've got a course that you think you really need or want that's different, then you would work with me to figure that out. But otherwise, everything is already set up for you in terms of what you need, and the flow, each course builds into the next one.
Okay, so you start August 2nd, 2022, and then you end in July of 2024.
Got it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks, Eric.
And do you, in the August classes, you said 7 to 8 days, is there like a day in a break then in the second week, or how does that work?
Monica. Yeah, there's a break in the weekend part. So because we're in Nelson, likely folks will stay for that time, but actually folks have driven home for the weekend and come back. So yeah, it's full day during the day, Monica. So it's kind of like morning class, lunch, then afternoon class. And so that's how we're able to do it in the 7 days. And there is a day break, a full day break between my first course and Lisa's second course. Just to
So is that midway through the second week then?
Yes.
So like the Wednesday or whatever would be a break?
Correct. Yeah.
And when you say full day, is that like till 5 or till 3 or?
Good question. I think I would have to look it up in this moment, but it's some version, I think, of like 8:30 till noon, an hour for lunch, and then 1 to 3:30.
Okay.
But we as a cohort can also adjust that slightly. Nelson's so gorgeous. So sometimes cohorts are like, let's start a little earlier or let's start a little later. So we can decide that as a group. But yeah, it's a 5.5 hour day.
Okay.
Of instruction. Yeah. Thank you.
And then the next July, the review of research, that's, you said the last week of July, just 1 week?
No, July, the middle one, July 2023, that is the 11th to the 22nd. So
right, that's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, so you do have that weekend off in the middle.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I see that hand, Sydney Demore.
Hi, I just had a quick question for the final graduating paper. Does it have to be a paper, or is there options for projects? I've seen some master programs where you can do kind of like your own version of a project, like online or something. Is there any flexibility there?
Well, you do your inquiry, Sydney. So like you design your inquiry, what you're going to do, what does that look like, some version of some kind of inquiry project or research. And then your final paper is writing it up. So what might that look like? It's been very diverse. Some people have done more like kind of narrative pieces with stories. Some people have done like really interactive pieces, but there is what we call like a capping paper where you like talk about what you did and explain what you did. But definitely what you do for the inquiry piece could be designing something like somebody's doing a series of lessons in math with a social justice focus. And so she's designing lessons and trying them out. And then her final paper is saying, so here's what I made and here's what I learned from it.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Artography is built into like one of the methods that a lot of folks are introduced to and take up. And so that's using art-based practices to try something out and learn about something in your teaching. And then the write-up or creation have integrated arts-based techniques into the final presentation and the final piece. Any other questions kind of around the content, the flow, the timeline? I'll be here the whole time, but just if something's burning, there we go. What are the course hours for Saturdays? Great question, Stephanie. We are on PST, which is, I don't know what P stands for, Pacific, everybody. Pacific Standard Time. So we have been going 8:30 till noon, and then 1 till 2 is what we've been doing PST time. But I know some cohorts and some classes have adjusted that. So some have actually gone right through 8:30 till 1. And then just on conferences where you can conference with the prof in the afternoon. So that's kind of the gist of what you're doing. So it has been slightly different depending on the term, the course, the instructor, but that's what you can guess. So for those of you in Mountain Time, that's starting an hour later. Don't worry, breaks are built in, everybody. Breaks are built in.
For those online courses, are there like group projects that you're going to have to meet with your cohort at separate times, or your group, sorry?
Yeah, that's a good question. Also links to just assignments. So there are typically 2 major assignments for a course. One is some kind of a representation or a paper or a synthesis of some kind around your learning. or like a proposal of some sort. And then the other usually is some kind of a collaborative something, a collaborative project where you lead a class or you do something together. And so, yeah, that's also why it's good to leave your Saturday afternoons open a bit so that you can collaborate with your team for whatever that might be.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There is
Lots
another
of
question.
collaborative learning, everybody.
There was a question about what are the days again in July 2024?
Let me see if I can find that for you, everybody.
And yes, I think that they are in Nelson, right? All of the courses in July are in Nelson.
All
Correct?
this summer, yeah, I could have mentioned that earlier too. There's a beautiful site in Nelson called the West Kootenai Teacher Education Program that I'm also so fortunate to lead. And so it's a beautiful space right on Baker Street. And so we meet right there in the West Kootenai Teacher Education Program site. And I'm trying to find the dates in my calendar, trying to manipulate my calendar. My hands are not as warm. I just got in from outside. Here we go. So let's just talk about the second summer for a minute while I have my calendar in 2022. We've got those dates. So the first course in August 2022, the dates are August 2nd to August 9th. So that's EDCP 585. And that's me. Have a good time with me. And then the next, then you have the 10th off. And some people just use that to catch up or get ready for the next course. And then the second course is the 11th, starts on August 11th and goes to the 19th. It is possible, though, you should make yourselves a little time after the 19th, folks, to finish whatever assignment that is for Lisa for that second course. But in terms of like instructional time, that's what it is. And then the second summer, I'm just scrolling through my calendar. Thanks for your patience, everybody. Remember we used to have paper calendars? You could just open the page. Remember those days, Linda?
I have it open here.
Yeah, I'm using my paper calendar too.
Oh, do you
So,
see it?
So
Yeah.
when you say 2nd to 9th, it goes through the weekend then?
No, it would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
And then Monday, Tuesday.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. You wanted me to post something about a paper
Oh
calendar.
no,
I
I'm
can
just
look it up.
teasing. I'm just saying I'm trying to use my electronic one and I'm trying to make it all work here. And then in the second summer, everybody, which is July 2023, you'd start on Tuesday the 11th and you'd be done on the 21st, folks, not the 22nd. And then, is it Stephanie who's in the Northwest Territories? I know there's somebody else who's already applied from the Northwest Territories. Somebody from Beaufort.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
From where?
Beaufort Delta.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. I was just with the Beaufort Delta leadership team last weekend. It was super great.
Awesome.
It's a great time. It's a great time for Northwest Territories folks with the shift of the curriculum because our curriculum has such a different land-based inquiry focus. So
I have a question for you guys about accommodations for families. And if it's, I looked on the website there that families are welcome and what that looks like, but is it common for people to bring their families, or is it like in terms of the workload and what that looks like during the weekend? Yeah, what you would suggest.
Yeah, it's common for people to bring their families. It's also common to find things for your family to do while you're in class, because there is reading always for the next day. So you have to think about, we've engaged deeply in some cool hands-on learning and debriefing articles, but then the next day you have to read something for the next day, and then we take that up the next day. So you just have to be ready for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
And then I'm looking, somebody asked about the dates for July 2024 when we finish. So my magic calendar would suggest to me that the dates we'd be together for July 2024 would be the 23rd to the 26th, everyone. So it's 4 days.
So you would have from like whenever the May 2024 class is over to work on your paper or your final thing?
Yeah, super great question, Monica. What would happen is so there's a course in May, June with me, I might add, which will be super fun, where you're looking at what you're learning and analyzing what you have and figuring out what the meaning is in it. And so that happens in May and June. And so then what'll likely happen is in the first 2 weeks of, not likely, what'll happen in the first 2 weeks of July is when you then do your write-up, right? So what have I learned? What's here? What is this meaning? And then you would submit that to me on the roughly, you look at me promising exact dates here. You would submit that likely to me on the 12th-ish. Let's just say ish. So if you submit your project on the 12th, and then the week of the 15th, you just make your presentation. And then we would get together from the 23rd to the 26th for that conference, where you present your work and respond to each other's work.
Thank you.
You bet. All right, Linda, that's me answering questions. Anything else, people, that gets super exciting that you want to ask? Well, I'll be here the whole time, but anything else just around like the content, the process?
When is the application? Maybe that was written somewhere already, but when is the application due?
April 1st. Linda will go over that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's due April 1st. If you have some documents
Yes.
coming in late, that's okay, but your application needs to be in by the 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leyton, sorry, just to tack on a question at the end. So
I knew it was coming, Cole. I knew it was coming.
I lay in wait. So this is open to educators in basically all levels. So would we be able to focus our research in really any field that we kind of are most interested in, whether that be literacy or numeracy or like curricular design overall? Like it's kind of very big seeming at the moment.
Yeah, well, what happens is over the course of the first year, you start to figure out where you want to focus, right? What are my passions? What are my interests? Where do I want to head? What could this be? So it's almost like this constant process of figuring out where you want to head and all the possibilities in the first year. And then you make a commitment as you get through the summer, and then you try that out in your context in the fall. But yeah, you focus in on literacy or outdoor learning or integrating your social studies and your science or culturally responsive teaching, where you're like building in diverse kids' perspectives into what you teach. And so yeah, over the course of that first year, Cole, you just kind of narrow, figure out.
Thank you, that's helpful.
You bet.
All right. If there is no questions, I can jump in and you guys can ask questions anytime. You know, it doesn't matter like when. So either just raise your hand if you have any questions, or after my presentation, I'll be happy to answer anything, and Leyton the same. So basically, this program starts every 2 years. So we currently have a program that it is still ongoing, and this is the 4th time that it is being offered. So that's why we have an internal code, this for the kidneys, and this is the 4th time this cohort is being offered. As Leyton had mentioned, you know, all of the summer courses, they're going to be face-to-face in Nelson, and all of your other courses, they're going to be online and they're going to be synchronous. And Leyton is going to be providing you with all of the information about each one of your courses ahead of time, you know, the dates and the times and all of that, once that you are admitted into the program. So in order to be admitted at UBC as a graduate student, you are required to have a 4-year undergraduate degree with a GPA average in the range of B+, which is 76% at UBC, in all of your senior level courses. Senior level courses are only 3rd and 4th level courses. Those are the ones that I do a calculation just to see where your GPA stands. For those of you who have an undergraduate degree and also a bachelor degree, your GPA can be lower, could be in your undergrad degree, it could be as low low as 68% or a B-. But applicants who have a little bit lower than the required GPA, they may still be considered for admission. With a special case rationale that Leyton and his department will be writing on behalf of of your application, just to justify the graduate studies that even despite your lower GPA, you may still how you will succeed in completing this degree. So you are not going to be failing, even though that your GPA it's been lower. So the way that it works is that, once that we receive all of the application, there's going to be a review committee that they're going to be review all of your applications, and they're going to review all of the documents that I'm going to be, mentioning here a little bit. So that would be your, I'm going to go through those a little bit. So they're going to check your GPA, and they're going to check your references, your statement of intent, and all of that, which it is really, really important, especially if you have a special case rationale. They will go through depending on why you are really interested in this program and what your referees say about you. So also you need to have a 2-year teaching degree or an equivalent. So an experience with engagement with schools, local or international communities, NGOs, and other related activities, and those that demonstrated academic interest in education. The documents that you do need to upload into your online application, it would be transcripts. So you're required to upload all of your post-secondary transcripts from all of the institutions that you attended, with the exception of UBC transcripts. But if transfer credits, if they are listed in your undergraduate degree, you will require to upload those as well. So for instance, if you have completed a Bachelor of Arts, let's say at UBC, and you did receive some transfer credits from Langara, then you will need to upload the transcript from Langara, but not the ones from UBC. So the reason it is because your transcripts for those UBC students who have completed an undergrad degree, they are being housed at enrollment services, and graduate studies, they want the whole paperwork and official documents from all of the students that they're going to be part as graduate students. So you would need to upload scan all of the copies as a PDF, not as a JPEG, because it is really, really difficult sometimes to see the information of transcripts when they are saved as a JPEG. Sometimes the image becomes blurry. So if you can upload your post-secondary transcripts, both back and front of each one of your transcripts into your application. So basically, graduate studies, they do not recognize, just letter grades. So if you have a letter grades that an advisor has provided you, or something that you have from your student portal, that will not be acceptable. So you basically need to upload scanned copies of the original documents, and you upload them, as I mentioned, as one PDF file. And I will be checking your GPA, and once that you are offered admission into the program, at that point, then you will be required by graduate studies to mail to them directly your transcripts. So it has to be exactly the same copy as the transcripts that you have uploaded, or they would accept e-transcripts at that time. But do not send anything to graduate studies until you have been offered admission. I don't know if you guys have any questions in the time being, or should I just continue? So I see some things in the chat. Anyways, you also need to provide 3 statements of support from references included whenever possible, professors or administrators who can speak of your experience and interest in this topic your academic abilities, and potential to complete a graduate program. And this is really, really important, especially if you do have a special case rationale, because we need to, you know, like we need to justify to graduate studies that you will be able to complete a graduate program. And I don't know if Leyton, if you want to just talk a little bit about the referees, because I have always questions about referees. Is this referee appropriate? Is that referee appropriate? And since you're part of the review committee, you know, just let us know what your department is really looking for.
Really helps to have one letter / reference from somebody who's taught you in a course if possible. That could be from your BEd, or that could be a course that you took at some point. If you don't have that, it'd be great to have a reference who is someone who does that kind of work if possible. Then your other two statements could be from folks in leadership positions, principals, district consultants, folks that you've that understand you as a learner. We're really interested in having folks say, yeah, this person is a learner and engages in professional development and will really benefit or really engage in this program. So that's the three reference letters. It really helps a lot if you have someone who was a professor or an instructor of some kind for you that can speak to you as a learner.
Can it be an administrator that's not your administrator?
Yeah.
like
Like
an administrator of a school that your kids went to that know you kind of professionally?
Yeah, if they know you as, the goal is as a learner, they can say, you know, this person is a passionate learner, or really likes to engage with things, or really steps up to do these kinds of things. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. We just want a real sense that folks coming in are going to be willing to engage in inquiry. And just like Cole was asking about, right? Like, you're not going to tell us what to do. It's more like, no, we're going to support you to go the direction that is really important for you. And so we just want to have that kind of a reference, just like, yeah, this person is going to go for it. They're really going to work and figure this out and engage really deeply in learning.
This is unrelated, but Linda, you mentioned every 2 years. Does that mean it's in different places, the in-person every 2 years?
Yeah, so it's basically the same program as you are seeing here, but you know, since the courses, they are in a certain order, it takes 2.5 years to complete this program. And then after, so this is the fourth time that we have been offering this particular program. So previous to this one here, it was in 2020. July, August, right? 2020. And then the next intake is going to be in 2024, August.
And
so
where is that going to be? Do you know?
Is the same format as here. So your July and August courses, they're going to be in Nelson. And the other ones, they're going to be synchronous online. Is that correct?
Okay, so it's always in Nelson.
Yes, it's always the same. So this program has been offered 4 times and it's always been the same format. You know, we just have like always interest from different students that they want to complete this program. So they have to wait for 2 years, you know. So, you know, we hope to get your applications going because it's really, really exciting. You will not be able to apply it until 2 years from now if you do not apply in this intake here.
Okay.
So there was a question regarding the pass and fail, and I'm going to answer that. So Cole, so yes, when we are like the pass fail BEd, that's an equivalent of 76%. So, you know, at UBC automatically, you know, if you have a BEd, then your first degree, your undergrad degree, like let's say if you had a BA, I'm just putting it there, right? So for UBA, we're gonna just see your, I'm gonna just check your courses that they are 3rd and 4th level courses. If you failed any courses that they are in their first or 2nd level courses, I'm not gonna take those in consideration. We just wanna see how you did in your higher level courses. So let's say if you have a BEd at UBC, whether it is marked or is a pass and fail, it doesn't matter. Automatically, you need to have just a 68% in your BA. right? So that's, that lowers because, you have taken additional to your undergrad degree because your basis of admission is your undergraduate degree. But since you have like double undergrad, you have additional, so then that counts towards your admission. Does that answer your question? Okay, perfect. So, okay, so beside, sorry, I went too
Linda,
fast.
can I say one more thing about the letter, the CV and the letter?
Yes, please. Yeah, please do. Of
Because I just focused on your 3 referees.
Yes.
Also, knowing some of your likely referees, I know Cole and Erica really well, and probably people you're going to ask. Some people are like, I cannot write a letter. I just don't have it in me right now. The referees have a choice. When they go, they get sent a link. You ask them if they're willing to be a reference, and you enter them into the system, and then the referees receive a link, and they have a choice. They can upload a letter, or they can just fill out a reference form right there where like they rank you and give comments. And so it's a little less scary than when everybody's asking you for letters at the same time. You're asking them for a reference, and the reference form will be sent to you as a link. And then
Just showing you. So here is the link. So this is one that I received, right? So basically what happens is, well, when you are completing your online application and you're entering your information about each one of your referees, you will have to enter all of the professional information about each one of your referees. So you will identify if your referee is an administrator, where does it work, what is his email address or her, and a telephone number. So the email address that you're providing in your online application, as soon as you pay for your application and you have completed everything and submitted, they will receive automatically a link, which is called an e-reference link, which is like a form like this, right? And then they can complete this information here. So they, as Leyton was saying, if they don't like that form, they can upload, they make sure that they save their own letter of reference in a professional stationery, and they can upload it into the application in lieu of the form, or they can do both, whatever they do prefer to do. So automatically they will receive that link, but they can upload their own letter of reference if they prefer. Is that clear? So if they do not, if you have a referee that they do not have a professional, like a school board address, right? And if they only have like a webmail address, so the system cannot verify that this is a legitimate referee because of being a webmail. So those referees, they will need to mail the letter of reference here to the office to my attention. And then when I receive it here, I will upload it into your application. Just make sure that if they do mail it here to the office, send it to my attention, that they have to endorse across the envelope sealed flap, because otherwise it will not be considered official. So just across here, so when I receive it, I will upload it and you will receive notification. So once that your referee, sends the letter of reference, you will be notified by email. And if I do upload it in the system, you will receive also notification by email. So basically you can upload documents after, you can upload. Yeah, so you can upload documents after you have submitted your application. So if you do not have some of the documents, as long as you know who your referees are, and make sure that when you get a referee, that you contact them to make sure that they're gonna write a proper reference letter on your behalf, and that they know that is expected, right? And I usually give the referees a little bit longer time for them to upload their e-reference, because sometimes referees, they are very busy. So I don't think that this would apply to none of you here.
We do have one international applicant right here, Linda. Yeah.
Oh, we do. Okay,
From the
wonderful.
United
Okay,
States.
so basically, if you do have transcripts that they are from another country outside of Canada, and you will need to upload your transcripts in the official language, you know, in the official language, and a degree certificate if that's not written in your transcripts. And you will need to also have them translated by an official translator and upload them also like in English. So it has to be first in the original language and in the official translation as well. Also, if the university where you took your degree, if English was not the primary language of instruction, you will need to provide us with an English assessment test, which it is like a TOEFL or an IELTS test. So if this applies to you, you can always send me an email and I can give you more information about that. Is that okay? All right. So the online application, here it is the URL for the online application, and this is available in the PDCE website. So this will link you to the online application of graduate studies. So once that you are applying, you just, the system is going to ask you if you have attended classes at UBC before or not. So they will not generate a new UBC student number for you, because we will not find your records if you get generated a new student number. So that's the first thing that you will need to disclose, and the system will be able to identify you, and then you will be able to upload all of your documents. For those students that they did not attend UBC, then you will need to also, complete the same application. The easiest way for you to make sure that you are selecting the correct program, once that you go into this link, is going to ask you to provide with the program search. So it's going to be like a little window. If you type in this letter codes KTY4, which is an internal code that we have, automatically will take you to the correct online application, because there's so many degrees here for graduate students to take here at UBC, and we want to make sure that you are taken to the correct program. So just by you typing KTY4, then after that, you'll notice that the degree here in curriculum studies is going to show that it has a July 22 intake, and then you'll know that you're in the correct program. You just click, and you're going to see that it shows professional cohort as well. So just by typing in here, you will be guided to the correct application. Then you will go ahead and upload all of your documents. And once that you pay for your online application, you will have to upload a part-time acknowledgement, which is a PDF form that it is in your online application. So this acknowledgement is for you to acknowledge that you are understanding that that this program is part-time. So basically it is geared towards professional students who are able to work and study at the same time. So for this purpose, you will not be eligible for UBC government issued student loans nor bursaries. Only students who are applying as full-time students who cannot work at all at UBC, you would be able to apply for loans or for bursaries, but not for this. So you need to make sure that you do, acknowledge that. So you will not be able to see your UBC student number until you have submitted your application, because this form is going to ask you to enter your name and your student number. But I have had so many students that I don't know what my student number is. But once that you submit your application, you will receive a confirmation that you have applied for this program, and it will issue you a confirmation of your UBC student number. If you already been a UBC student, you will know already your student number, but it will still send you a confirmation about your number. The application deadline was extended to April the 1st. And so like Leyton was saying, you know, we hope that we receive all of your documents, you know, except for your referees, which I give them like 2 extra weeks by April the 1st, because once that we receive all of your application and it is complete, then I can forward all of your applications to the review committee so they can start reviewing the files, your applications, but they need to be complete. So as I mentioned before, you can still upload documents. Even like if you apply now, you don't have to wait until April the 1st to apply. This is just the last day that you can apply. After April the 1st, the application deadline is going to be closed, so you will not be able to apply. The application fee is $108 for domestic applicants and $168.25 for international applicants. The cost of this program, I think somebody was asking about this. So currently, the Master in Curriculum Studies professional cohort, the tuition for your full program is $15,752 and change for domestic tuition, and international tuition is $16,697 and change. This is in Canadian dollars, payable over 7 tuition installments. So each installment is payable 3 times a year. So so the first tuition installment, is usually kicks in May. But since you're starting in term 2, I'm gonna try to see if they can just start it, you know, from July, because that's when the term 2 at UBC starts, in July. So it's like, the tuition installment for Canadian citizens and permanent residents is $2,250 and change. And for international students is $2,385 and change. So tuition, the fees that you are viewing here on the screen, these are the current fees. So the UBC Board of Governors, they meet every year in May to determine the tuition, and it's been that is been for many, many years that they raise the tuition every May by approximately 3%. So you can expect that you know, your first installment, it will be 3% higher than what you're seeing in the screen as of May.
This goes back to the UBC PIN number. If you went to UBC like 20 years ago, will you still have a PIN?
Oh, your CWL, you mean, or?
No, well, like our education number, you said we need a student number. Will that number still be the same as when we
Oh,
graduated
yes,
20 years?
yes. It doesn't matter how long you attended UBC, you know. So the only thing, like if you attended UBC, I think it is prior a certain date. You know, UBC integrated a wide a CWL, which it is a wide campus-wide login, which is like your identification as a UBC student, so nobody else can see your information except you. So when you are applying to this program, you will be asked, you know, if you already remember your CWL. If you do not, the system will still recognize you by you know, your date of birth or some, you know, some place there, and then it will automatically will give you the same student number. If you cannot remember your student number, you can always contact me and I can check it out in the system. And I need to verify with you like some information just to make sure that I'm not passing it to anybody else, right? So you will have to give me some information and then I can give you your UBC student number. So you will use the same student number. So otherwise I cannot find your records if the system generates a new student number for you, right?
Right.
And
Okay.
if you did not have a campus-wide login when you attended classes at UBC, you will be asked to create a campus-wide login. And it goes usually by the student number, and then you select the password, and then you can, you know, which is like your date of birth, and you can change that later on, your password.
Yeah, I think I don't remember getting a CWL. I think that's because it was before that.
Right. So
Yeah.
no worries. You're still a student at UBC, and I
Mhm.
can find your UBC student number, so I can provide you with that. I can find you in the system as long as if you change your last name due to, I don't know, if you get
Yes.
married and if you have
Yes.
a different last name, I need to have the information of the name that your records were under, right? And then
Yeah.
once that you do apply, you will also upload like a change of name, like a document showing your change of name, sort of like a marriage certificate showing
Mhm.
your new last name, because the system will still have you under your maiden name. And it's
Okay.
only when you are admitted. Some people, they want to keep their maiden name, right? But if you do want to change your name to, in the system for your current name or your married name, that is possible. So I will help you with that.
Okay.
Once that, but you will have to upload documents, just to prove that this is your current name. And so when you applied and when you completed your program at UBC or took classes at UBC, you had, and I'll find your student number.
Thank you.
Just send me a message. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Okay, so I'll continue if there is no other programs, another questions here.
Actually, I have one question. So I've taken on a few student teachers from UBCO,
Okay.
and they've always told us at the end, if we take on a student, they'll give us like a free
Teacher
course
credits?
if
Yeah.
we want to take one. Are we able to use that for this program, or?
Okay, so basically, those teacher credits, they are issued by the Teacher Education Office. So we do not issue those. So you will have to contact directly the TEO office. And if you are a secondary instructor, it would be John Yamamoto, and I can give you his name. If you send me an email, or it would be, if you're an elementary teacher, it would be, I cannot remember what is the name of the fellow, Rod.
Okay, I need the secondary one. If I could get
Okay, so then it's John Yamamoto. So
Okay.
you will have to contact them directly, and they deal with that. We don't deal with any of the tuition credits. Before we used to, but now is the Teacher Education Office that they will provide you with information about this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So I guess I'll continue unless, I don't know. Okay, so you would not, okay. So because it is a part-time program, you would not qualify for student loans. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, yeah, in the first installment, it will be in either May or July. I will talk to the tuition clerk and find out, since you guys are starting in August, if you're the first time your tuition can be assessed in July instead of May, because the tuitions are assessed usually from May to August. Then it goes from September to December, which is the next term. And then it goes from January to April. So those are the 3 times that you pay until you have completed your 7 installments, right? So it is the same cost, right? It doesn't matter whether, they start you in May or in August, right? The only thing is that they have different student fees that they kick in besides the tuition. And that's what I'm gonna show you in a little while. So anyway, the tuition does not include student fees. So student fees are separate from the tuition. So you can, the 2 biggest fees that you have, and I'm sure one of them you can opt out for sure. So if you do reside outside of the lower mainland, so if you reside somewhere, outside of the Vancouver metro area, you can opt out from UPass because it was an agreement from the transportation in the metro area and all of the different universities that they will give a special rate to all of the students if everybody pays for the UPass. But students who are not able to use the transportation because you live like either in Victoria or in Kelowna or in Nelson or anywhere else outside of the Vancouver metro area, you can opt out of that. And that is approximately, it's about 173 for the whole 4 months, right? Or 43.35 per month. So you can opt out from that fee, you know, as long as you do not reside in Vancouver, right? And then another one of the, you know, the student fees that you will be assessed is the medical and dental, and that's for the whole year, and currently it's $264. And if you do have already coverage, then you can opt out of this too. So all of the other fees, they are not really humongous fees. They are small fees compared, you know, these ones are the 2 largest fees, but you still, depending on each term, they vary from term to term. So, you know, you know, those are the 2 largest ones. The method of payment for your tuition and for your student fees, which you pay at once, is either bank transfers, check, money orders, or credit cards. Okay. And yeah, one thing that I forgot to mention there, as part of my role too, that I will be registering you in all of your courses. So you, as even though that you're part-time students, you are all part of the same cohort, the same program. So you start and complete the program around the same time. So you will be registered by me to all of your courses that they are your required courses. And so you do not have to, you know, look for a spot. You are guaranteed a spot in all of your required courses. If you do have, I just forgot also to mention here, because I don't see it, I forgot to put it in the screen. You're not paying here for credit base for your courses. So some students, they want to take additional courses. So you need the 30 credits that they are part of this program in order to complete this program and graduate. However, if you still enroll in the program and you want to take additional courses just as of interest, you do not pay for those courses because you pay for your program as a whole, not per credit base. So I would recommend, if there is any courses that you're really keen on taking, then just talk to Leyton and just make sure that, you know, that they're doable with your coursework, because you need to pass all of your courses. All those courses, even though they're not part of your program requirements, they're still going to show in your parchment. So you need to pass all of those courses. Otherwise, you will not be able to graduate. You can audit the courses if the instructors, they are okay for you to audit them. And I can help you with that once that you are admitted. So you will take it out of interest. You don't do an exam for those courses, and you just take them out of interest. Another thing, if for whatever reason you are not able to, if you have a medical problem or any, you know, you're allowed to take a leave from this program. So I will be also helping you with the leaves. So if you need to take a leave for, you know, personal reason or medical reason, I can help you with that. So you will have to apply for that. And what that means is that you, let's say you don't take the course that it is scheduled in one term. So you will need to complete that course that you were not able to take during the leave another time. So you will have to talk to Leyton, because Leyton, he will help you to know when do you take the course, or if there is maybe an independent studies course that you can take in lieu of the one that you have missed. And if you are taking a leave, your tuition stops. So you have to pay a leave, just a leave fee, which is approximately about $120 to $150, just so you still remain in the system. And once that you come back from your leave, that's when you continue paying your tuition. Yeah, I think that I covered everything. I cannot think of anything else, but if you have any questions, you know, please let us know. Should I stop sharing here the screen, Leyton?
You bet.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for joining us. We're happy to stick around if you have any additional questions. I just noted in the chat box at one point that that letter of intent is important, right? That's your chance to say, why is this a fit for me? Why, you know, why am I ready at this time to do this kind of work? You know, here's what I'm interested in exploring. So, you know, talk about practitioner inquiry or place consciousness. It's also great to talk about what you've already done in terms of your own professional learning, right? I have been learning about this, or I've been exploring this, or I'm ready for this now. But just know that the review committee really does look at that statement as of intent to say, yeah, this person wants to be here and is a fit. And just know that I'll make it a fit once you get here.
Linda, can you put that last slide up again with your phone number and your contact information, please?
Oh, sure. Okay, hold on.